I got the test results back for my mammogram, and the test results literally said that my breasts were small and incredibly dense. And I said, Doc, I know they're small, but did you have to call them stupid?
Hello and welcome back to Comedy Means Business. My guest today is Sarah Sherman, who in the last 5 years has carved out one of the most distinct lanes of anyone on Saturday Night Live with material that feels instantly identifiable as her own, even if she didn't write it. Strange, sometimes grotesque, character-based, and deeply committed. Sarah's gonzo sensibility gets its most complete showcase yet in her new HBO special, Sarah Squirm, Live and in the Flesh, a wild body horror variety hour that is gorgeously designed and most assuredly unlike any comedy special you've seen. We talked today about the tactile, Looney Tunes-esque experience she's crafted as alter ego Sarah Squirm, going all the way with a bit, even if it means sometimes bombing hard, the extreme learning curve of SNL, and what Sarah wants for her career outside of it. Sarah Sherman, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible special. And so it's your first hour, right?
It's my first hour.
It's crazy. So what does that moment mean to you and to have it with HBO?
I was really scared to commit the show to the archive to tape it because I'm like, it's a really fun show to tour, but it's like physically taxing. And but it's really fun to do. Like I'm running around and like hyperventilating and pulling my hair out and bothering people. And I was having so much fun doing it that I was like, I don't want to tape it. But thank God HBO agreed to do it because they had no notes. I couldn't believe they let me do it. No notes.
Really?
The one I got an email at some point that was like, "Are those your real genitals? We just need to know for ratings or."
Would they have had to cut that?
I don't know. They were just curious, and I'm like, no, the elongated prosthetic 10-foot long labia are not my labia.
It would be a bold move to just do that. Like put it all out there for real.
I know. Well, I would never in like 8 million, even though it's, I'm showing and doing a lot in that special. I'm a little bit of a prude and I'm like a bit modest.
That's hilarious.
So I'll spread my shit and show like fake roast beef labia, but I would be too scared to show my own real ones. I'm not showing my real asshole.
Sure.
It's my mouth that I painted to look like an asshole superimposed onto that footage.
Right.
Actually, it was funny, like that footage, there's like a moment, I guess spoiler.
Yeah.
Or whatever, where it's like the shot is like my ass and I'm like spreading my ass cheeks to reveal an asshole that's like my mouth painted to look like a butt.
It's wild.
And I had to obviously edit this footage myself because I'm like, I'm not letting anyone have footage of me spreading my real ass cheeks.
Yeah, that creates complications.
Yeah.
So what does HBO mean to you? Is there a seminal HBO special for you, or like HBO and comedy? What is the association for you that's most meaningful?
I mean, like Martin Short Goes Hollywood. That was an HBO special. Like we even tried to get that OG HBO opening sequence of like the zooming through the city.
Yeah.
But we realized it was like a little bit too similar to the opening sequence I already have in the special because it's like zooming around the claymation graveyard.
Yeah.
But they were down to let us use like the old home box office.
You really
intro.
it seems like putting yourself in a certain cultural context, like with the Seinfeld thing. And, like putting yourself right in there.
I have nothing but respect for my elders.
Yeah. So tell me first about the building of this hour. You've described yourself as like a painfully slow writer in a culture where it's like there's this intense pressure, it seems like, to deliver like at least an hour a year. We just had Josh Johnson sitting there.
Yes.
And he's doing an hour a week, and it's like, how is that even possible? I don't understand. But like, yeah, tell me about it for you, like how this works.
I feel very unfit for the times that we live in. Like before SNL, I was like, when everybody was doing the phone, I was like, oh, I'm dead. Like I could, everyone was in lockdown doing comedy on the phone, and I'm like, I couldn't do that because the front facing, you see yourself. You know, like it's like, I'm not fit for these times. Like I'm not fast. I can't churn out a special Lord knows when I'll have another hour. Yeah. I'm terrified. And I think there's like a lot of painstaking work went into this special, and there's like a lot of shit in there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's like, I would say a good 45, 50 minutes of jokes, and then like 10 minutes of a lot of like crap. And that took a long time. So I'm curious when I'll be able to get my act together to do another hour. And I like Josh Johnson. Jeff Asmus is another comedian that like churns out material so fast, and it makes me want to blow Jeff Asmus's brains out. I like
clip it.
Yeah, clip it. I'm coming after you, Jeff. I wish I was a better joke writer.
You're a very good joke writer,
but it takes me a long time.
That's all right. It results in something that's special, and Josh too. It's like it was paradoxical because he does take his time in some respects. Like he's a very intentional, like slow-paced comic who just owns the stage, even if he's putting out content that quickly, which
is not even, and I do not take my time up there.
Run around.
I'm just like I'm like, I know you all took time out of your busy schedules you all came here after your big shift at the graveyard or whatever. It's like, I want to make sure you are getting you're getting overloaded with sights and sounds.
Does Looney Tunes resonate for you?
Yes,
because there's something about just thinking now about like what you do is just reminiscent.
There was like I don't know if it made the special. I mean, we cut 30 minutes out of it because the producers were like, keep the audience wanting more, which is not anything I've ever thought in my life. I'm a maximalist. I've never wanted people to want more. I wanted to give them all until they're sick of me. So there's a half hour that didn't make it. So I don't know if this joke made it in. It was something like, I talk really fast because if we had like a moments of silence, the fear of death would creep in or something like that. So it's like, I don't leave any gasps of air, and it's like very Looney Tunes logic and like Ren and Stimpy logic. Like we stole a lot of like Ren and Stimpy close-ups. Like there's like a moment where I'm like snorting a drug and then it's like my head like turns like 180 degrees and there's like a close-up kind of like fisheye gross-up camera.
To me, it feels like you enjoy something that's like almost like analog, tactile, nostalgic in a way.
Yes. Like we do a large Marge thing where like my eyes bug out of my head. With the original animator who did that, Rich Zim Animation, shouts out. Because it's like I'm not shy to I'm not shy about what I love. It's like so clear. Like I love John Waters, so I'm like, I'll just get him in here. Like I love Pee-wee's Playhouse and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So it's like I'm not
it's
like
hiding. Pastiche or something.
Yeah, and
you're like blending a lot of influences.
And I like the tactile nostalgic stuff because that even though I rip a hangnail off and that's like so clearly something
that was
made.
the only part
I know.
You got me. I was just like, this is tough.
I'm so glad because that's something that I did with like it's wax and hot glue. It cost probably $6 to do, and it's like the cheapest. So many of the practical effects I didn't do. Obviously, a professional did it, but that was one that I did do. And the fact that that's the thing that people get the most grossed out by, I'm
definitely
like, take it. But even though the tactile, nostalgic, feel of that, it's like that's wax and glue. Mm-hmm. But that's the most effective in grossing people out.
The visuals are spectacular. Tell me about coming up with this stuff and who you worked with, how you pulled it off, how much time it took, at what like rough budget. Like that's it. It's it puts you in a whole lane that's like I don't even know how to conceptualize how much and effort and time and everything it would take to make that.
It's the same budget everyone else gets. Like there is like a standard, I'm pretty sure, unless
standard HBO.
Yeah, like everybody gets like, that's why I love HBO. Like, because everybody's churning out like a special every year. you know, the people think you can just like do it fast and cheap, but I kind of was like, but I want to make something kind of crazy, you know. I'm very thankful that HBO like actually gives resources to comedians to like make something really crazy, because it's
awesome. It's elevated. That's why I told
yeah.
Josh. It's like it feels like they are getting into the lane of elevated specials that have something more, and that's refreshing.
Like
Cool.
Julio's new thing is like an entire theatrical production. Like it's
Yeah.
so awesome. And like there was so much shit that went into like my special. Like the set designers who did the Oh Mary set like made this
wow.
you know, intestines made out of like, you know, the budget wasn't crazy, so the intestines are made out of plastic bags full of garbage,
That's
spray
the
painted
best.
to look like yeah,
Wow.
but that's like, you know, I love the paper mache style. And like, you know, my friend Sweaty Eddie did that like animated, you know,
Of course, Sweaty Eddie
yeah,
is a
of course.
guy in your world.
Yeah.
I also loved that your first open mic was the Hog Pit, right? That feels like
Hog
a
Pit
bit
NYC.
like a
I
made
know.
up place.
I know, it's like so much of my comedy has been me experimenting with raw meat.
Yeah.
So it is funny that I did do my first comedy open mic at a barbecue restaurant.
So are these all just like people in your world, in your orbit in New York? Like, how did you kind of find people to work with?
It's like so many people that I'm like just a fan of. Like my friend Izzy, who did the long prosthetic labia. Like I made like the prototype where I don't know how to like actually make prosthetics, so I made like my version was like what was it like? It was like pantyhose stuffed with newspaper that I like attached to underwear to look like long labia, and I didn't know how to make calater nipples, so I like glued baby bottle tops to like giant like felt areolas. But I didn't know that like baby bottle tops are made with silicone, and you can't glue silicone doesn't stick to anything unless you have silicone glue. So like I had this really shitty practical effect that I showed my friend Izzy, and then he's like, I got this from here, you know. So I was a fan of Izzy, I was a fan of Sweaty Eddie's animation, I've been a fan of Rich Zim forever. That ending animation, that's all that crazy clay shit, is David Daniels, who invented this kind of animation called strata cut, which is like he builds these giant logs of clay, and then when you slice them it reveals images inside of that, which is like so I'm just like a fan, and the opportunity to like hire people to do something like that was a joy.
Are you a big follower of just like sort of obscure artists and people who are doing crazy stuff, like even online and that sort of thing?
Like me and Sweaty Eddie like found each other online like 10 years ago, and it was I just got the resources to be able to pay them to like work with me basically. And they like, so like we were both and I love, you know, experimental animation. Like David Daniels did the opening sequence for Freaked, which is like my favorite movie ever. So like I just like weird effing crap. And you know, I think nowadays I was worried that when you're making something with that the intent is to shock people, like both visually, sonically, a lot of the subject matter is a little shocking.
Sure.
I think now that with the like AI slop culture, it's like I'm like, oh my god, like it's harder and harder to actually shock people with images, because the image is so flat and people see shit all the time. Like so the fact that we were able to make something like tactile and DIY and like touchy-feely, slimy that was still shocking is I'm just so proud of everyone involved.
So with the opening stop motion, for example, like how long does that take, and what does the sort of process look like from start to finish on that?
Well, basically I made these like shitty storyboards of like, okay, then a hand pops out of a grave, and then a butt pops out of a grave and farts out a ghost, and then like I write, you know, I did like these full color, you know, storyboards for all this stuff, and then there's such a high trust there. So then I show all this to Sweaty Eddie, and then they just go. And it took them like a month or less. I don't understand how. It's so intricate and amazing and bizarre. And they'd be like, you know, I send them all this stuff, and I'm like, go crazy. And so they're like, okay, but what if like an eyeball came out of the dentures? I'm like, do whatever you want.
It's incredibly intricate.
It's amazing.
Like, I can't fathom.
It's amazing.
So, like researching you, I was interested to find that you really seem like you are very involved at SNL and wherever, like with things like costume and prosthetic. You think about it a lot. Like, so have you always been that person? You're just like an artsy and craftsy kind of person?
I like didn't know that you could marry visual art, and because I've always wanted to do comedy since I'm like whatever. And then I was like doing, whatever, art and stuff. And I was, when I first started doing stand-up like in Chicago, the art practice and comedy practice was like limited to like I would make these crazy posters for my show. I did a show called like Hell Trap Nightmare, which was like crazy comedy performance art and like aggressive loud noise electronic music. And I would make these posters for the show that was like a severed finger inside a bleeding uterus with like eyeball butthole, and it's like that was like kind of the trigger warning for the show.
Yeah.
And then I saw Wham City Comedy for the first time, and they were like, they were from Baltimore. They were like these weirdos who were doing like multimedia crazy like performance comedy shows where like Alan Resnick was doing a Foley character that was doing Foley on, he was making sound effects only using the carcass of a dead dog, and it was this like fake dead dog that he built, and then he had crazy like PowerPoints and projections behind him. So I was like, oh, I can, comedy doesn't have to be just like some like dipshit standing there with a mic. And the first time I tried to do like a PowerPoint comedy, it was like me like telling jokes in front of these videos of me with like 100 goats. Like I found this goat island in Illinois that you basically have to take this little like fishing boat to, and this like this is so long ago, I can't remember. Like this company like had a herd of 100 goats that you could hire 100 goats to like manicure your land, because goats like eat vegetation and weeds and stuff. So I asked them if I could make a video on this goat island, and it's me in this wedding dress with like 100 goats. I don't even know what the joke was, but I was just doing crazy shit. But I didn't know how to do PowerPoint comedy, so it was like me on stage, like stopping and starting a video. Like I didn't know about PowerPoint, so I knew like the timestamps of a video. Like
I still don't know how to use PowerPoint. I'm so glad AI caught up. I'm just like, I don't want to make a PowerPoint.
Well, this was better than what I was doing, which was stopping and starting a video because I had to memorize the timestamps.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, I know that like a minute and 5 seconds, like I have to say this. Like it was so crazy. And then Ian Abramson, a comedian, saw me clearly struggling while trying to like interact with this like video, and he's like, you can make PowerPoint slides, right? And I was like, oh, right. I don't have to memorize the timestamps of a goat video.
Like, what else can you tell me about like your experience in Chicago after graduating college? Like, just like paint a little bit more of a picture of a scene. It sounds so cool, just being around all these musicians as well. How did you pay your bills like in the early days? Like what did it actually look like, and what was the day to day?
My first comedy job, I could even cry thinking about it, was Cole's Bar. Had this big open mic Wednesday nights that went from like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and he would pay me $300 cash, and that's how I was able to pay rent every week. My rent in Chicago was $600, so
not bad.
I was paying the rent, and like, because like Chicago isn't like a capital I industry town, I feel like I was able to like be very experimental and make a lot of mistakes, and it like wasn't necessarily funny. Like my first big crazy bit was like, the joke was something like, men say they want a tall glass of water, honey, I'm a tall lukewarm can of clam chowder, and then I chugged an entire can of clam chowder on stage, and everyone's like, okay, gross. But I was doing this shit with like crazy performance art, like that I'm still friends with to this day. Like one of my best friends, Alex Grelli, puts on these giant hour-and-a-half long productions with giant cardboard puppets of like Falcor that he rides while like singing like Echo and the Bunnymen, like or like my friend Mike Sugarman was performing as this noise artist Shug, and he would like come on stage at my shows like in a trench coat and flash the audience, and he had like chorizo taped to his dick, and the music he played was like smashing light bulbs, like, so I was really lucky to be coming up in this like community of people where I never felt like embarrassed or ashamed, and I got to bomb in front of people who were very forgiving, let's say.
So it might be hard given the context you're in, but like, can you discern like what the weirdest show you've been a part of was, either in Chicago or as a stand-up? Like, I want to hear about some of like the craziest experiences.
Well, like this show that I ran, Hell Trap Nightmare, was like an open door, an invitation to be like insane, to the point where like I regret a lot of the things I was doing like early in my performance journey. Like one of the first shows I did was like I invited someone on stage and blindfolded them to do like a haunted house of horrors where they put their hands in buckets and fill,
Oh
you know,
my God,
is it
yeah.
eyeballs? Is it grapes? Whatever. And I got like a bucket of like basically 1,000 worms, and they were blindfolded, so they didn't know. They like are plunging their hand into this bucket and like squeezing and smushing. Like basically it was like a worm genocide. And when I unblindfolded them, they were like horrified to know that I had like forced their hand into like murdering like hundreds of like beings.
Sure.
So it's like, and then, you know, later, so, and then I felt kind of bad about it. And then someone later was like, oh, well, those worms are an invasive species to the, and I was like, okay, I guess I did it. I don't know. So it's like stuff like that. I'm like, do I regret it? A little bit, yes, but that's just kind of the shit that I was on then. Yeah.
Where does this fascination with the human body and all its disgusting glory come from? Like, there are certain influences of yours, like Joan Rivers, I believe, that's sort of like are self-deprecating, but in a kind of a different flavor. Yours is sort of like finding the power in the grotesque.
Yeah,
it's like a power move. Like, so where does this? Tell me where that comes from.
I think it is like there is a long lineage of like women comics being like, my body's fucking disgusting, like Phyllis Diller comparing her tits to like sandbags and stuff like that. So it's nothing new, but mine's just like a little more cartoonish, or like you were saying, Looney Tunes logic to it.
Yeah.
I'm just having like I'm just being a little crazy with it. And yeah, it is. I mean, it's like obviously like a coping mechanism thing where it's like, you know, I have a lot of jokes in the special where I talk about being on TV for the first time, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, I have a fucking mustache. And it's like, I get, you know, I'm a woman over the age of 30 on TV. Like, it does make you feel a certain type of way. Like, I did have a makeup artist. Like, I have, like, my eyebrows literally connect to my head. Like, I have literal dark, coarse pubic eyebrow hair going from my eyebrows to my head. And a makeup artist was like, do you want me to pluck those? And I was kind of like, I'm not going to fix my teeth. I'm not going to fix my eyebrow. Like, it's just like, I'm just going to try to own it and see what happens.
That's the best thing about you is like, yeah, you do that. And that's where the value comes from.
But it's not that I don't feel a certain type of way about it. It's like,
Sure.
I know my arms are hairy. It's not amazing, but that's what I've got to work with.
Love it. You've described your comedy sort of like sitting on this spectrum or it's like this experience where it starts with repulsion and you're pushing people and then you're trying to win them back.
Yeah.
And there's like a pride in being able to do that. How do you walk that tightrope, and has it gone wrong a lot where you're just like, oh no, like, because that seems really hard to pull them back. You know, people are squeamish and whatever.
I bomb like Oppenheimer, like for real. I'm not afraid of bombing, and I do it a lot. I walk people a lot because a lot of people who come to my shows at clubs, you know, they're like, you know, sometimes they'll skew older because it's like people who watch SNL and they're like, oh, it's the brown-haired Jewish girl from SNL, let's go see her show. Like, they don't know that it's a Sarah Squirm show. It's not like a Sarah Sherman show. So like, I'll do that show that you saw in the special. I'll do that with all the bells and whistles and noises and images. Like, I'll do that at a comedy club in Phoenix, Arizona. And I have Jack Bensinger, who does the shows with me, he has videos on his phone of like 25 people in Arizona leaving in droves, like in the middle of the show. And it's like, I do, you know, I think that is kind of fun. I do like pissing people off. I like being a brat. I like being a little menace. I like being a little demon and like needling people. But ultimately, like I do see that as a failure as a comedian because I'm like, I want to make people laugh.
Sure.
And I've created this crazy obstacle course for myself where I'm like I'm repelling people with like, you know, I'm showing them a video of like my asshole and I'm trying to pull them back with jokes, and sometimes it like doesn't work. And you know, this is just what I do, and it's like what I know how to do, and it's like what I like doing, but it's like I do kind of wish I could figure out how to do an hour of comedy that is just really engaging, funny stand-up.
Sarah Normal.
I do want to do a Sarah Normal activity special.
That would be fun.
You heard it here first. I want to do blonde wig, white t-shirt, jeans, and I have to write an hour of jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if I could even do it clean, too. Like, I'm like, how does Nate Bargatze do it? How does he do... Like, I can't go 1 second without saying, like, my fucking asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to try it. I want to see... Were
you ever worried about accidentally swearing on SNL? That's one thing I think about, because I'm just like... That has happened, and it's been disastrous, like, for certain people.
No, because I am locked on those cue cards. I'm not peeling my eyes away from them for 1 fucking second. Lord, no. Those are my safe... That is my life raft.
Yeah.
So I'm never saying anything that's not on those cards.
Okay, fair. Well, kind of looping around a bit, but, like, I was curious, like, how you even tour a show like the show we're seeing with the special, because it seems like it would require a lot more dialogue with these venues and whatever, like, and there's a lot more setup. There's a lot more that goes into it. So what does that look like?
I love doing comedy clubs because, you know, I learned the hard way because the show is very like, you know, it's like kind of rocker chick. I have done a lot of like rock venues and like that's great and all, but like the best place to do a comedy show is a small comedy club. Everybody's sitting down. The expectation is comedy. The ceiling is low. It's intimate. I can like talk to people. I can see people in the crowd and like interact with them. Mm-hmm. And I think comedy clubs, unless I'm speaking out of turn, are kind of jazzed at the opportunity to do something different, and they're like willing to like, you know, I have like a sound check that's like 2 hours earlier than like
I could
usual.
see it being the opposite, where they're like, ugh, like why? Like, just take a microphone.
I think they're stoked. I think they're like, okay, this is like different for us. Like we get to like plug in a couple things. We get to plug in a couple different little machines that are different than normal. Mm-hmm. But I actually think it's like getting more and more popular now to do multimedia comedy like at comedy clubs. Like I do think it's becoming like more of a thing. Like people have a lot of visual elements and stuff. And listen, I'm basically like a traveling Carrot Top, like, you know.
Was there like a specific moment when you went from playing sort of more underground experimental venues to like traditional clubs and that sort of infrastructure? In
Chicago, shout the fuck out to the Laugh Factory Chicago. Like they were letting me up there. Like me and Meg Stalter had a show there called Sarah and Meg Make a Mess at the Laugh Factory. Like, we actually did a show together. The second one ever was canceled because not one person bought a ticket. But touring, I was able to do because of comedy clubs, and I'm very thankful to comedy clubs because they put a gun to my head and forced me to write jokes.
Forced you to work in a different kind of way.
And like I like met Eric Andre, like which was my like. He's one of my best friends now, and like was the first, you know, meeting Eric was because me and my friend Toller Wolf were the comedy club Comedy on State in Madison, Wisconsin. They were like, oh, we have Eric Andre here this weekend. You guys are weirdos. Why don't you take the bus in from Chicago and open for him? And then we met Eric, and that like changed my life, you know. And then after that, he like brought us on tour, and like we wrote for his show. And like comedy clubs, you know, so much of community is like dissolving because of like the internet and like COVID, I think got rid of a lot of live stuff. And I think comedy clubs and like the system of like headliners and openers have like allowed like so many comedians to like meet and have like created so many opportunities that I think are really important. Like I met an opener in Indiana, Lucas Waterfill, who he's like one of the funniest guys ever, and I wouldn't have met him if the club didn't like introduce me to him, and like I brought him on the road with me like since then. So I love comedy clubs. I love comedy.
Yeah. Tell me more about Eric Andre. He's actually going to be doing this in a week or so.
Yeah.
I had flagged that you had this relationship. You worked with him a bit. Like, did that teach you anything, or like what was special about the experience working alongside him on different things, writing on his projects and whatever? Like
being his opener, it's like I can't describe. There couldn't have been a more perfect situation for me.
He's like your exact vibe. It's hard to find. I feel like there's not that many people, right? He
was sent to me from heaven. Like literally, that was God's greatest blessing give to his most grateful soldier. Like I had done shows with him where there were guys in the front row head banging to his stand up. Like, wow. like guys in the front go like that. So like I was, and people were like, I was newer at touring, I was newer at stand up, and it was such a gift to be trying out stuff in front of like the most welcoming audience. You know what I mean? Like there were guys ready to like chug a bottle of ranch. So of course they kind of were digging what I was doing. Like that was just like the best stuff. And like, I think what people don't know about Eric is like fucking crazy, obviously, but he's like really intentional and thoughtful about all of his comedy. So like, and he's a comedy dork. So like, the Eric Andre show is like, lampooning the late night setup, but it's like only because he like fucking loves late night and has seen everything and like has nothing but respect for his elders. So like I would pitch a crazy bit, and like because Eric is a wealth of comedy knowledge and a comedy fan, he'd be like, well, that was a super Dave bit from Letterman, like. So that was just, it's really fun to work with Eric because he's like he does crazy, bizarro, outlandish comedy because he knows everything about classic comedy. Yeah. And he's really supportive. He's so sweet. I'll just get a text from him. Like, I got a text from him like 2 weeks ago that's like, so effing proud of you. I can't believe you've been on SNL for 5 years. You're amazing. Love you. Mwah. And I'm like, that was my hero. That's and now sweet. He's my friend, and he's being supportive and sweet, and like, he's just awesome.
It's very cool. So you relocated for a bit to LA, actually, right?
Yeah, I moved. I made my friends, all my friends that I was doing Hell Trap Nightmare with in Chicago, I made them move with me to LA. And I was like, okay, we're moving like November 1st or whatever. And the second we all like got the moving trucks packed, and Eric was like, come on tour with me. So I made all my friends move all my shit for me across the country. So sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, we lived in LA. I lived in LA for 2 years before SNL. And I loved comedy in LA because like, now everybody knows about the like LA clowns, but like there's so much weird like desert tweaker freaky shit going on in LA, and there's like I love the comedy scene out here. There's a lot of freaks out here. Yeah. So I was loving doing comedy in LA.
Okay. And then so they tried you out for SNL like 2016. Yeah. You got it like 2021. What do you think changed the most about you and like evolved with your act in that time that made the difference? Was it more about like actually the show at that point, or was it like you would come to a different place in what you were doing a little bit?
I think like when I was 22 and I first auditioned, everybody tells you like, oh, you got to do like 5 minutes of characters, 5 minutes of impressions. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I didn't think, and that's another thing with SNL. Like, you're like, yeah, well, you never think you're going to get it. So I'm like, all right, I'll do whatever anyone's telling me. So I did like, when I was 22, I did like, or however old I was. Yeah. Well, I'm 18 now. So how old was I? And yeah. But yeah, like I did 5 bad minutes of characters. Like that's not my wheelhouse. That's not what I was doing at the time, but I thought I was supposed to do what everybody was telling me to do. And then by the time I auditioned again, when I was like I was 28, I was just like, I'll just do what I'm doing. I'm like, I'll just do 5 minutes of the stand-up that I am doing. I thought, I was like, I did just 5 minutes of my favorite jokes. And it's like a lesson that learning anything from me is like idiots guy. What is it? The blind leading the blind. But like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just you don't have to listen to what anyone tells you. Like, I think there's this myth within like showbiz, like if you want to get this job you have to do this, this, and this. It's like never the case. Like everything, it was like a total freak accident. Just like, don't try to force anything that's not working. Just like do what you're doing. And I think also because what I was doing was like, I was just doing my show Hell Trap Nightmare and like pushing myself to be crazy all the time, and I was just like kind of doing my own thing, and I wasn't trying to get anything or do anything. The only thing I was trying to do was tour this crazy show. And then I just did that in front of Lorne. Can't believe it worked. Still shocked to this day.
Was it a weird like entry point because it was like just after COVID, and then you also had like the writer's strike in the middle of like your run so far?
Kind of great because COVID, even though like obviously it sucked or whatever, it was kind of a grounding experience because it forced me to just like stop everything. I was like touring and going crazy for like years, and then everything came to a grinding halt, and it like forced me to look inward, and I started like a meditation practice, and I
love
just
all
like,
the stuff you're doing, like dream analysis.
Yeah, like
cool.
but it just like forced me to get real. And I think like both COVID and the strike are very grounding experiences. I think like so much of showbiz, you just get like caught up in some fucking bullshit where it's like the strike was a grounding experience because it's like, yeah, let's reconnect with like workers' rights. Like, and so like even, and COVID was a grounding experience in this. That's like the Bernie campaign was going on at the time, and it was like a lot of talking about universal health care like during a pandemic. Like all these like really grounding experiences, like I think helped like put everyone's head. Well, I felt like my head was on straight. So I think I was like able to go into that SNL audition like I was like 100 years older by the time that happened. Like when I was 22 doing that first audition, it's like Lord knows my head was turned around backwards.
Is there a major difference in the experience of being at SNL as like a what is that, featured player versus repertory, like in terms of like how you feel about yourself and your place in the rank and stuff?
No,
Not really?
There's like no difference between featured and whatever like cast member, like, and I think like the longer you're at SNL, I always think every season I'm like, this is the season I'm gonna figure the show out. Every year I go in being like, I got it figured out this year, and then it's the same shit where we'll be writing something on a Tuesday that's making me die laugh, and then it's on stage in front of an audience of 300 people, and I'm like, this is bombing. I thought this was fun. Like I never can figure out what works. I think it's like,
where's the hiccup? Would you say you get more things close to going and then it doesn't go, or is it early on that things that they're just like, nah, like, because I know it's been a process for you, like where I mean, Week in Update has worked amazingly well, but you've been open, like you've felt it's a learning curve in the sort of sketch space. It's
still a learning curve every day, and I think like Weekend Update is just like stand-ups really like it because it's like basically stand-up. You're like, it's presentational to camera. Sketches are a whole different beast. It's like acting. You're interacting with people. There's like emotional like dynamics. Like it's character acting, and it's really hard, and that's like not like the thing that I'm the most goodest at.
It's so funny because as a longtime viewer, it's hard to tell the difference. Like, it feels like equally valid and cool and exciting what you're doing as a character on Update as it would be like if you're just like in a sketch.
Character on Update is so fucking easy. There is not even a set. You are sitting in a chair at a desk. There's a wall behind you, and you're only talking to Colin or Che or the audience.
Yeah.
And it's like easy. It's like two-dimensional in that way. Also, like, you need less like sauce in the tank with an Update character. An Update character is like, it's shorter. It's like 5 pages. It's like 3 minutes. It's like all you need is like a funny little thing that can keep you going. Like a sketch, there's like 8 people. You're in a place and there's a beginning, middle, and end. An update doesn't really have a beginning, middle, or end. You could just like do joke, and it's over.
Yeah.
And that's like easier. And like a sketch, I still haven't figured it out. I'm like, okay, so there's like 5 different people and everyone has a thing and you're interacting with the 5 different people and we're in a place and it's in a time and there's like a thing to it, the beginning, middle, and end of it all. Like there's like a there. That's so much harder. And I feel like, you know, I actually feel like I haven't done like a successful SNL sketch until like literally like this year. And it was like a total accident. Like,
which one?
There was these 2 new writers, Max Gay and Tucker Flodman. And I was like writing a couple of sketches that night. And, they're new writers this year, and they were like, yo, come to our office because I think we're both writing sushi body sketches this week, like you know, when someone's like got the sushi all over their body. And
sushi body, it's
like when they do like a naked lady covered in sushi type of thing. Like I think we were both writing sketches about that, and I'd never written with them before, and I had like we were like talking about like, oh, like, are we both writing the same thing this week? Like, what do we do or whatever? And I went into their office and then we ended up just like talking about like, I don't know how we got here, but then I'm sometimes scared to write with other people because it introduces the opportunity for rejection. Like, what if I pitch something to this person that I don't really know and they don't think it's funny and then I'm bombing and then I'm gonna fucking blow my brains out?
What is the social experience like?
It's scary.
When you go in, you're like, hi.
Yes, it's awkward.
Yeah.
It's like first date type shit where you're like, and these are what all my recurring nightmares are about. Is like I'm going door to door to different writers being like, with like a tin can being like, do you want to write with me this week? Do you want to do this vampire sketch this week? So I'd never worked with them before, and we just like naturally got to chatting and we're talking, and then somehow like I said something like, oh, what if it was a sketch that was like auctioneers that are like getting divorced and they're like in the middle of a domestic fight, but they're talking like auctioneers. And it just so happened that Tucker is from fucking Iowa or some shit, and he's like, I've actually been to cattle auctioneers to a cattle auction before. And then we just got to talking. We never worked together before, and we like wrote a sketch like super late at night. And by the time we like did this like auctioneer sketch, I was like, oh, I feel like I just did an SNL sketch for the first time like 5 years in. The end of my 5th season, I'm like, this feels like I'm doing SNL. Like I'm wearing a funny little costume. Like I have a crazy hair. Like this is a character in like a set with like a character voice. And I was like, oh my God, this is an SNL sketch. And I didn't figure out how to do it until 5 years in. And I did it by accident. It was total accident.
Early on, what was the first thing that made you feel like I belong and I'm not going to be fired? Because that would be my fear. If I went into this, I'm going to be like, how do I not be fired? Like, that would be terrifying.
I think
it's a very high pressure situation.
I think because I came in like as a total, like felt like accident fluke, I was just so happy to be there that the paranoia of being fired didn't sink in until much later. So like I was there, I was just happy to be there. I was happy to have a job and a paycheck. Like that was new. And my expectations were so low. Like the joke with all my friends was like, you're going to do 1 season. You're going to appear 1 time in the season. It's going to be like, does anyone want some water at this restaurant? And then you're going to be done. And so it actually just gets more anxiety inducing and scary the longer you're there.
Interesting.
Because it's like, I should be better at this. And I'm like fucking up constantly. And so it's like the fear of getting fired only increases like the longer you're there. Like I feel like people are like, why are you afraid of getting fired? I see you on the TV. You're there. I don't think you're going to get fired. And it's like, but you feel the longer you're there, like I did Amy Poehler's podcast yesterday and she's like, you're a vet there now. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I really feel like you've built yourself.
I'm not, though.
You've built yourself to the point where you're a brand, you're an entity within the show that is very singular. So I think that you've succeeded. Like you've, you know.
But you never feel, it's like because the show is this like organism, it's this like beast that's ever changing. Like I can never figure out what the audience likes. There's new people coming in every day. Culture has changed so much since when I started. Like,
do you feel like is the live audience a good barometer, you think?
I don't know what they like, because it's like what the Olivia Rodrigo audience likes is different than what the Matt Damon audience likes. Like
it's very driven by who their attendance is driven by the host, or
like I don't even know. Like that's just me even trying to make sense of it. I can't make sense of it, and that's like you never know what's going to work. It is very much a live situation.
Yeah. Wow. How did you make some level of peace with the unpredictability of it and the intensity of it?
I haven't. Like I have, like I get very anxious before and then I get even more anxious after. Like, you know, because it's live, you like get off the stage and you're like, what happened? Does anyone know? Was that good? Like, help.
Is there more you think that people don't understand about SNL, like looking at it from the outside, that's kind of interesting?
It is crazy. Like I do think
you describing it as an office job was so fascinating to me. I'm like,
it is.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It is an office job until all of a sudden on Saturday it's really not. It's in an office building.
Yeah.
It is crazy that all of Saturday Night Live occurs within an office building in Midtown with a train station in the basement. And like
whoa.
I can't, like, you know, people open their phone or their computer and they see 1 billion videos a day. And I'm like, the video you see from SNL is different. It was really scary to do. Like, and I wonder how much that is like apparent from watching it. Like there was a live audience full of 300 people. In that audience was Steven Spielberg and Leonardo DiCaprio. Also, it was on live TV in front of millions of people. Also, like the 5 seconds before you saw me playing that grieving widow in a scene, I had gotten a bird beak ripped off my face 30 seconds before I was thrown into that wig. And so like I have a little bleeding cut in that sketch because we ripped the bird beak off too fast and I was, you know, like it's like that's another thing. Like nobody even knows about the like headspace you were in right even before that happened. Like I could have been in a Blue Man Group sketch right before that scene, had to get a bald cap and blue paint washed off me before I had to do this like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz impression. Like it is so crazy. Like, yeah. And like, if I ever do a bad job, like I'm not making an excuse for myself. Like by the time you saw me do that, like crazy shit was happening.
Yeah.
Like
I always wonder like what is the most intense changeover you had, like where you're going from one thing to the next, because that's one of these things that seems so cool and interesting about the show is like you could be rushed from one thing to the next and the hair and makeup people are like stripping you down and getting you ready for the next thing. It's like that sounds interesting and crazy, like the transitional part of it.
It is like, oh my God, like, I can't remember. What sketch was it? Oh, I can't remember. This finale episode with Will Ferrell. Me and Will Ferrell turn around. We have no clothes on our back and our ass is out. Yeah. Like, I had to do a quick change into that costume. And there was like in order to keep all the shit up and together, there was like weird straps like hidden inside because pants keep shape because they're pants. But when you cut the whole back out of pants, they don't stay in the shape anymore. So like in order to make it look like I had half pants on, there were all these like weird straps and ties like inside my underwear, like up my ass, whatever. And and it was this quick change into that costume. And if one strap was out of place, when I bent over to show my ass, something really bad could have happened. Something could have fallen out. And you're just like going to the sketch being like, well, I hope my amazing dresser, Liz, remembered to pull that strap into the right place because I'm about to bend over in like basically see-through underwear in front of all of America, and if one strap is out of place, like my hole is going to be out.
Damn.
So it's like stuff like that. You're just like, you know, it's so, thank God everyone's really good at their job because something really bad could happen.
I don't even, like, what is your relationship to these after parties? I want to go to one at some point. I need to see it. It sounds like on one level, it's kind of like it is a work function and
it's
stuff.
It's a work function. You were there with all of your coworkers. So like, you know, they're not as crazy. I feel like when I got the job, I was like, it's going to be 80s cocaine every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
That's
not.
the impression you get, for sure.
I think it's like because it's such a high intensity, stressful job, it's like people do like to take a load off at the party and have a couple drinks and get a little loose. But I was never a drinker before the job, but like the new thing at the job now is everybody drinks like a Celsius at 11 p.m. before the show. And so it's like I have to drink a dirty martini to come down from a Celsius.
And like, all that adrenaline, I can't even imagine that. Like that's crazy.
The party exists to like
decompress.
Yeah, tucker yourself out.
Yeah.
Because you're so wired after the show. Like, I wish I was just like, I'm pooped, I'm going to bed. But I'm like, oh my God, what did I just fucking do? Like the finale party, I literally did My Ass Was Out sketch with Will Ferrell. And that was the last sketch of the season.
Yeah.
And then I was just like set loose onto the world. And I was like, what happened? What did I do? Was my asshole out? Like, you're kind of like wired after that.
So what is the honest economics of being a stand-up at your level right now, someone being on SNL? How much did that affect like your touring numbers and stuff? Like, what is the situation?
I'm in a quite peculiar situation because it's like, if anyone knows who I am, maybe it's as like the brown-haired girl, Sarah Sherman from SNL. And I tour as Sarah Squirm. It's this,
right.
Which is like a cartoon character who talks about like shit and diarrhea and whatever. So like even though I would probably sell more tickets as Sarah Sherman, I'm not willing to compromise the vision. It is Sarah Squirm. So, but I get like self-conscious because I feel like a bad stand-up when I'm at SNL because like Marcello, Cam Patterson, Tommy Brennan are really good at like during the week at SNL they will be going up at the cellar and I'm like, I'm old, fat, and tired. I cannot keep up. So like, I'll tour on all the breaks, but then I'm like, they're good at keeping their stand-up muscle like stretched and going all season. And
they're doing it during the season.
They're doing it like after rehearsal at like
so
midnight.
Crazy.
It's crazy. I can't.
Whoa.
I know, they're amazing. Good on you, Cam. I texted him something like good job or whatever, and he said thanks, big sis, and I go, don't do that. Don't remind me that I'm older than you, Cam.
Yeah. So it's sort of a weird in-between place right now.
I'm in a weird in-between place, yeah.
I enjoyed the candidness you've talked about it with, like, where it's like, there is that thing where you can undersell a venue, and that's like a nightmare. Like, so, like, but can you talk a little bit about that and like how you've kind of elevated, like what the progression has looked like?
So basically, another reason why I'm not long for this world and will maybe pass away soon is that, for like stand-up career cadence, it's like I put out a special in December. I should be touring now because the special just came out. But like I'm coming out of the season of SNL feeling like roadkill. I got one eyeball dangling. I'm missing both my arms and legs. Like I feel crazy. And so I'm taking a bit of a break before I start touring again, which is like totally the antithesis to the pace I should be on. Like It makes sense. I should be like keeping up with the momentum, but I've never taken a break before in my life, but I was like, oh shit, I needed a break. And it's not just because like I'm tired of touring or I'm tired of working. It's like I come out of SNL feeling really like vulnerable and it's just a really scary, hard job. And like my self-esteem is like, I'm doing all this crazy shit on live TV in front of millions of people. It feels kind of crazy. And I kind of just like didn't have the heart to tour right now. At this very moment, I'm going to tour at the end of the summer, but I was like protecting myself against the feeling of pulling up to Boston and the Wilbur going like, hey, we're half sold, we can fill the mezzanine or whatever, and I'm just like, my little heart can't take that right now. I can't.
Well, what is the end game for you, like after SNL?
I just want to make crazy shit all the time. Like, obviously I want to do another special. Obviously I want to make a show. I want to make a movie. It's like, but like, for me, like the differences between special, movie and show, it's like these are just these formats like in entertainment, but it's like my special was kind of like a little bit movie like, and like like I just like making crazy shit. I don't know like what form it's gonna take, like, but I know it's gonna be like it's gonna be something. It's gonna be substantial.
So do you feel like being so unique and leaning into the Sarah Squirm of it all has like, does that make things difficult? Because you gotta really, like, it puts you in a different lane, right?
Yeah,
like,
I just don't know any other way. And I do wish I could I like, there's so many people who I admire that I wish I could be more like, but I am stuck in this. And I wish I could, like we were saying, I wish I could write as many jokes as Jeff Asmus and Josh Johnson, but like I kind of can't. Or like I wish I was as good at sketch comedy writing as Ashley Padilla, but I'm like, I can't. I'm like stuck in like, the best I can come up with is like my ass is out with Will Ferrell, you know? So I'm doing what I can do, you know, and a lot of times I'll be like, I'm on SNL for 5 fucking years and I look pretty good in a blonde wig. Why don't I get cast in more fucking shit? And then I'm like, well, right.
You get cast a lot.
I do get, but I'm like.
That teenage sex movie sounds really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is effing awesome. And, but it's like in that movie.
It's so your vibe as well.
It's so my vibe. I'm like waiting for the big kahuna. Like I'm because I can like do all the stuff myself, and it's like everything I make from here on out, like everything I make will look like what you saw in that special.
Yeah.
But I am kind of waiting for someone to be like, for someone to make my day and be like, you got to do this crazy acting role that seems different than something that you would generate yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there anyone you emulate, and is there anything you've learned as far as like how to protect the weirdness and not let that get sanded down, you know, even if you have to, it seems like code switch a little bit in a sense with SNL because like there's a different expectation.
You know, SNL does let me let my weird shit out a lot. It's just like a matter of like me learning a new skill set of like, well, how do I make something for this show that like works really good on the show?
Right.
But it's like, you know, you know, when I was a kid, like I grew up watching Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's like,
Same.
He's right. So he's like my hero. Like that's who I aspire to be. He's a pretty good model for weirdness, you know?
Yeah. He's doing fine. He's having a great life, like doing all kinds of cool,
his life is
like
amazing.
random creative projects.
And like the producers on my special were like Josh Safdie and Ronnie Bronstein, who like make these massive blockbuster major movies, and they were the ones telling me I had to cut out a half hour of my special. And they were like, cut the fucking RFK Jr. jokes, bro. Cut the airplane jokes. Just freak shit only. Like that was their mandate. They were like, this is freak shit only. And so, you know, I read every comment about my special and it's people being like, all she does is repeat the same shit over and over again and scream. And it's like, there was more variety and texture in the special. There were like normal jokes about the airport. But Josh and Ronnie were like, fuck that. So I like thank God I have these like, you know, people in my fucking squad who are like holding that shit down for me, because I was willing to make concessions. I'm like, I'm doing a stand-up comedy special. I think there should be a diversity of rhythm and pattern, and I should have jokes about the airport. And they were like, no, you are not doing that. So they're holding me down.
I really hope you're. I would love to see you on SNL for a while. Having said that, you're at the 5-year mark. People tend to do it for 5 to 7 years. Have you thought about it? Like, and like, what is that thought process for people? Like, I'm always interested in that.
Yeah.
It's like, is it you're being pushed out sometimes? Is it like, no, I really want to go and do something else? It seems like that is it. A lot of the time, people are just like, I've done it, and I need to go do the next thing. But I don't know how you think about that.
I've talked to people who feel like they've like conquered SNL. They're like, I've done the thing. I did SNL. And I'm in this weird position, like I was saying with like the auctioneer sketch, where it's like, I kind of feel like I haven't figured out a little bit of SNL, and I'm 5 years in and I still can't. So it's like, you know, we live every summer in this gray area of like wondering whether or not we'd be asked back. But I still feel like I never feel like I'll have finished business there. Like I always a little bit am like chasing something there that's like unfinished, like because I haven't figured out like all of the show yet. So
more to do,
but also I have so much to do for myself, and I don't understand how people do SNL and anything else at the same time. So watch this space.
Is it a weird vibe shift when people leave? Because to me as a viewer, I was like, I think this season I was like, whoa, like this felt like crazy.
Bowen left, I was like, so people made this joke, and I'm not naming names, but you know who you are. We're like, oh, Bowen's leaving. You're not going to have anyone laughing at your jokes at the table read. And that was like, me and Bowen just like crack each other up like endlessly. So he was like, I had this big Bowen laugh every Wednesday. Even if I said like, would you like some water, sir? He'd be like, girl, you're crazy. So like when he left, I lost this big Bowen laugh, and I was like, oh shit, like, God, my charm isn't gonna get me anything without Bowen. So it's like crazy when people leave, but like the new people are so awesome, and they're really supportive and sweet, and there's like kind of there's good vibes going on there right now.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, to me, everything you've built is like this very specific visual universe. It could be a brand, and maybe that's like antithetical to like what you like, but like, have you thought about extensions of that, like series? And are there things you've developed? Like,
yeah, I've like written a bunch of stuff, and it's just hard to do anything when you're at SNL. But I would like to. It's just, I wish I was like as productive as like Adie Bryant did Shrill the same time she was on SNL. I'm like, I don't know how she did that. That's like a miracle that she was able, like, I can't even like do my laundry when I'm at SNL, let alone like show run an entire show for like 4 seasons. So
yeah. So if you had a big film or TV vehicle, and it's just exactly what you want it to be, built around you, like, what would that look like?
I've written a couple things. Hollywood, is the bidding war gonna start? But it's basically like what you've seen in the special. What I've written is like times 1,000.
Yeah. Last question. I've started asking people like lightning round. Is there one album, one book, and one like comic who's on the newer side that you would recommend, or someone who might be still underexposed?
Lucas Waterfill in Indiana. He's really fucking funny. Who else is under? I mean, Jack Bensinger, who I tour with, is not under, like, he writes at SNL now. He has a very popular podcast, Joy Tactics, and he did that movie Rap World with Conor O'Malley and Eric Rahill. Mm-hmm. But like the Joy Tactics podcast, it's Eric Rahill, Nate Barone, and Jack Bensinger. They're like they're the funniest people. The 3 of them are the funniest people ever, but they're not underexposed. Who is like underexposed? If you live in Chicago, my friend Alex Grelly does the best live shows of all time. He does the Grelly Duvall show where he plays Shelley Duvall, and he does the best. If you don't live in Chicago, I'm not kidding. I've told people to fly in and see it. It's worth the trip. People fly to fucking Broadway to go see Kinky Boots. I don't know why they can't just fly to Chicago and see the Grelly Duvall show. It's the best. It's like, it's not even the best theater I've ever seen. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Album and
album.
What was that one? Book.
My friend Lily West just put out a new album, La 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 La. It's amazing. She's an amazing songwriter, and if you are a girl, you are gonna like the lyrics. I think my favorite band, Horse Lords, put out something semi recently. They're crazy, freaky noise rock band from Baltimore. That I like grooving out to that. I'm trying to think what else. There's this fellow freak Cabo Boing who makes music out of Florida that's very clown coded. I don't know if they've put out new music in a while, but like, just shout out to Cabo Boing. Clowning is big right Clowning's now. Big.
Yeah.
And my friend Fire Tools makes electronic music, and she did the meditation music.
Cool.
In the special. So everybody go check her out. She does harsh noise Weather Channel music, new agey freak shit. And then a book. I'm reading these books by the sci-fi author Gene Wolfe called Book of the New Sun, and it's this like trilogy of crazy sci-fi books. And he is like a big sci-fi. He's basically like every sci-fi writer's favorite sci-fi writer, and I'm fucking obsessed with him. And the books are amazing if you like dork shit like that.
That's awesome. I'll check it out. Yeah, I think you undersell you sell yourself short a little bit too much. I really think what you're doing is very cool. Yeah, it's a fun chat. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.